Over the years, photography has evolved from the film-based to the digital age that we are right now. Back then, when you are processing your film, there could be a little bit of dust, a little bit of speckle, a little bit of air could get into your film, and with the final images, we have those things on them. Those things actually give your pictures a little bit of character, which makes it a little bit distinct from what we have right now. Now, there's nothing wrong with having clean images because these days, our sensors are way bigger and they are way more advanced than the film sensors that we have back then in the day. But you can still want those characteristics in your pictures, right? Because there's this nostalgia feeling that it has. There's this smooth, there's this feeling, this texture that is just so distinct. And this filmic look, this filmic mode that you might want to emulate in your digital photographs can easily be done by a whole lot of other options aside the one I'm going to give you now, but this one seems to me like the most professional and the most advanced way of doing it. So the people at DEHANCER sent me this plugin which can be integrated into Photoshop, into Capture One, into Lightroom. I'm going to show you how to use it in Photoshop today. And if you want to get this product, definitely use my promo code Ben10DEHANCER to get a 10% discount off your purchase. I'll leave the link in the description below. So let's get to this video and I will show you how it works. So this is the image I'm going to be using to edit. This is not going to be the only image I'm going to use the plugin on, but this is the only one I'm going to process in Camera Raw. A little bit of information though, if you just downloaded the plugin, there are some certain settings that you have to do so that the plugin is going to work effectively. You don't want to use this plugin and not use it to the full potential. So if you're using it in Photoshop, it is recommended that your working space is set up this way. Make sure you're using the sRGB color profile and that your color management is converts to working RGB, and you want to tick all these options. You don't want to use ProPhoto or Adobe RGB because the only color space that DEHANCER supports for now is the sRGB color profile. And make sure that you are using the 16-bit channel depth if you're working in RAW. So this is the RAW settings. This guide actually comes with a plugin. Once you download it, you see this guide inside of the package. So let me open up Photoshop and I'm just going to check the settings. I already done the settings though, but I'm just going to show you. I want to come to settings. If you're using an early version of Camera Raw, you might want to come down here and go to workflow. Make sure your color space is RGB, your depth is 16 bits. So this is going to allow for a very wide gamut of color range. 8 bits is not going to give you enough gamut of color, so make sure you're using 16 bits. And then there is a recommended settings for your raw files if you want to use the plugin later on for your edits. The way this works is if you are shooting a video, you will shoot log files, right? So log files is a type of file that is going to protect the details in your highlights and in your shadows and general information of your file as much as possible. And what it looks like in when you're previewing it is going to look very flat and dull and boring. It's not going to have any sort of saturation or contrast or something. So what DEHANCER does is it tries to emulate that. So this settings here is supposed to help you get to that point also. You are not working on the video, but DEHANCER is actually for DaVinci Resolve. It is meant to color grade videos, but they want to help you to be able to achieve that kind of filmic look. So this default settings is what you're going to input, and feel free to do a little bit lesser or greater, but I would strongly advise you go with the default settings so that you can have the best results. So let's get back to Camera Raw and make sure that the profile is set to Adobe standard. That's going to get rid of a lot of contrast for you. Then open up the basic panel. I want to reduce the exposure to like -1. right there. That's a little bit dark, but never worry, we'll get back to that later. So the contrast has to be at -40, and blacks go all the way up to 60. You know, by having that soft, gentle look already. And you want to go to curve, make sure that it is set to linear, and that is set already. And come to detail, make sure your sharpening is at 0. Pictures that are taken with films are not really as sharp as what we have today, so again, everything that we're doing is to make sure that we get to the point where it looks very filmic. Okay, so I'm going to come to this. Let's see, noise reduction 0, sharpening 0, and then I can open up the image. So I'm going to open it as smart objects. It's written as open as object here, so I'm going to open it up as smart object. I have other images lined up already that I'm going to show you more of, but let's work on this first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to filter, I'm going to come to DEHANCER, and come to DEHANCER fill. So once it opens up, you see this interface, which is really simple to use. It's easy to use. Even if you're a first timer, you should be able to work your way around this. And just with what you're seeing here, you can see my last edit. That's what is applying to this picture already, but that's not what we are going for. So I'm going to reset this all the way to its original format. So on this side you have the profiles tab, and on this side you have the presets tab. This profile tabs is, you know, you can have different ranges of profiles that you can actually apply to bring out whatever feel, whatever texture, color that you want your image to look like. And I won't really play around with the settings here, but let's see the profile that works best for this image, and then we can go around and check some little bit of settings here. So I'm just going to scroll around, and just to point out, you can change the profile around there. So you can go to any of those profiles and choose the one you want, but if that is a little bit overwhelming for you, just stick to all films, and then you can easily scroll. All the profiles are here already, so you can just easily scroll around and see the one that works best for you. So I'm just going to keep scrolling, and once I see the one that matches, then, or the one that best fits, the one that I like the most, because this is totally dependent on preference. It's all about preference. What I love might not work for you, so definitely experiment and see what works for you and stick to that. I think I like this Agfa Chrome. It has this grain, subtle tints, and you can see that it has that filmic look already, and I've not even fiddled with the settings at all. So let's come to source and see exposure composition. So when you apply some certain profiles on your image, it's going to affect the exposure in some sort of way. So if I bring this up, you can see I can gain my exposure back easily, but if I want it as it is, then I can definitely leave it as that as well. Then there's this button there, this push and pull button. It's supposed to help you with the exposure. So if I pull it up, it's going to brighten the image up, and if I pull it down, it's going to darken the image a little bit. So you can just use this. This is more like an automatic setting that is just going to work on a lot of things for you. Things like exposure, you know, it's going to protect your colors as well, just to make sure that you don't blow out your colors. So I'm going to leave that at 0 because I love what the image looks like without using the push and pull button. Then I'm going to come to film compression. Let's see what that looks like. The impact is what you probably know as opacity, so it totally depends on how much of this you want. Okay, you can see all those grains and all that filmic look that this image has, which is really beautiful, right? Okay, so let's see. Now, one of the biggest settings for me here is this elation and bloom. So if I turn this setting on, you can see it adds this fringing around the edges of the image in a really subtle way that makes it have that filmic look, that makes it have that vintage look to it. If I turn it off, see, so all around the edges, if I turn on mask mode, it will show you where these settings will be applied, where the elation will be applied to, excuse me. So let's see, if I bring global diffusion up, you see where the elation is showing up. It's going to show up on most of the images, but if I'm using local diffusion, it's going to be more subtle. It's not going to apply it a whole lot. So I'm going to use global diffusion, and if I want it to be very, very intense, I can use amplify, but I don't want it to be this intense. It's going to look really nasty. Let me turn off the mask mode, and yeah, now that's not really nice. So I'm going to reduce amplify a little and reduce and bring up global diffusion, because I want it to still appear on the edges of a face here, if I can get it to that point. So let me turn masks mode on, see if I can get it to appear on the edges of our chin there. Yeah, just a little bit. I don't want it to be too much though. So I can still bring down amplify. And let me turn off mask mode and see. Yeah, that's the before and that's the after. Before, after. And then this really fits this image, because the whole idea is to have this badass vintage kind of fashion look to this concept. That's what the whole concept is all about. So this just ties it all together. It makes it have that full effect, which I really, really love. So that's all I'm going to do with elation. Then I'm going to come to bloom. These are the two most important settings for me. Okay, every other settings I really don't fiddle around with them that much. So I'm going to turn on bloom, and this is just going to make everything look a whole lot better. So there, before, after, before and after, you know, it's just going to, like, the best way I can describe this is when you shoot film, you don't have huge megapixels to play around with, right? It's going to have like this kind of low resolution. So bloom is just going to make that a lot more it's just going to show that a lot more, and it's more like elation too, but a little bit different from elation. So I'm not going to toy with it so much. So if I want the bloom to be more prominent in the highlight, I can bring it up, and you know, let me increase the impacts. Like I said, I don't really fiddle around with this setting so much. I mean, if you are a street photographer that is into architecture and you know, you do cityscapes, then you might want to work on this settings a whole lot more. But I'm a fashion photographer, I'm a fashion and portrait photographer, so this doesn't have to be a whole lot of work for me. Just a little bit of settings here and there, and I'm good. The bloom actually makes it have that you know, it's going to have like this subtle glow, and some even go as far as putting things in front of their lens to get this kind of look, to get this kind of feel, to get this kind of mood. Some people will put some things in front of their lens, you know, like a pro mist filter, just for this look. But you know, DEHANCER made it really simple to get. So you don't have to go that far to get the you don't have to spend another money, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get your picture to look filmic, buying a pro mist filter, which are really expensive. So that would be elation and bloom, and maybe a little bit of vignettes, you know. Let's see if I bring exposure down, just a little bit of dark edges will be added around the images, you know, and that's it, and that's it. So you can see what this looks like. If I click preview, this is what it looks like before. Now there's nothing wrong with this image. This image looks absolutely gorgeous, it looks good. But if I apply this to it, then it makes it have a lot of character. I mean, it just ties the image all together, gives you that filmic look that I have in my head when I was planning these shoots. So this is what it's going to look like in the end. Okay, so I'm going to click OK, and you can see how beautiful that looks with the elation on the edges of the finger right there and right there, and you can see the bloom. You can see the highlights look very soft and very, very creamy. Let me just crop this a little bit, straighten that up. Yeah, now you can see what we have. So the filter is applied as a smart filter, so you can easily go back to it if you have anything you want to control. If you have anything that you want to change, then you can easily double click on the DEHANCER film here. It opens up and all your settings are just the way you left them. You can easily fix anything. Let's say the elation, maybe it's too much on the finger here. I can easily reduce the global diffusion here, maybe just a little bit, and reduce amplify a little bit, you know, and click OK, and that's it. So this is the before, this is the after. Really amazing, right? Now let's go to another image. This is an image I took of some times ago. Let's go to filter, let's go to DEHANCER, and you can tell that the whole environment, the whole location, the apartment that I chose for this image has this vintage look to it, and the bride actually agrees with me. She's the one that actually picked the location, and I agreed with her that this would definitely go for the styling. You can see that the couple, the groom is putting on something that's very vintage too, the pants, the shirts. So now I'm going to use the DEHANCER to like tie everything in now to look a whole lot better. So let's go to the DEHANCER, and then let's go back to okay, so if you are into really extreme film look, then this is something that is just out of this world. It's mind-blowing, right? Now let me go back to it's applying my last edit to this image. My last edit, that's what's applying to this image. So let's see, this is looking really good, but I'm going to do this from the beginning so you can see how this works. Let me just reset this. Okay, okay, let's see, just going to pick a profile. Let's see, Kodak Ektachrome. That looks nice. I'm looking for something that is, yeah, that's cool. I love this. So let's go back to elation, turn that on. Yeah, beautiful. You can see it's on the edges of her nose there, on the groom's hair. If I turn on mask mode, you can see where the elation is showing up. Let me bring up local diffusion here. Okay, good. Turn off mask mode. That's beautiful. I'm going to reduce amplify again. Good. And then I'm going to turn on bloom. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? So you can see how it makes the highlights look very creamy, very soft. It feels ethereal, and this is something that is really interesting. It is something that makes your picture a lot more interesting. So if I zoom in here, you can see how filmic this looks. I think I'm going to reduce amplify here, and I'm going to reduce amplify in elation too. And if you are working with image that the skin tone is really important to you and you just want the skin tone to look a little bit better, then you can come to color head and fiddle around with it a little bit. So I can add maybe some subtle yellow there, you know, add a little bit of red right there, and yeah, preserve exposure, make sure this one is on 100, and you can leave impact on 100 as well. So and that will be it for this image. I think I should bring the exposure up just a tiny bit like that, and there we go. So you can see how beautiful and how subtle this is. If you want, you can still come down here and fix some tiny little bit of details depending on how intense you want this effect to be. So that's the before, and this the after. Before and after. Gorgeous, right? Now this is an image I took years ago, so I figured this would be the right time to show. I ended up not posting those images because, you know, I posted them on my other page. It wasn't really looking the way I wanted it to look. I couldn't get it right. Or when DEHANCER sent me this this plugin, it came back to my mind, and I felt like, okay, I'll definitely find something that will make this image look the way I want it to look. You know, I want it to look a lot filmic. Let's say that looks good, but I would love this image to be on the warmer side. I want it to be warm. I don't want it to be cold. Okay, yeah, there we go. So you can see you even have the option of having something like this, which is really interesting. So if I want it to be warm, I can actually increase the temperature compensation there just to give it a little bit of warmth. And let's go back to elation. Okay, I would love that to be more prominent, so I'm going to increase this, and I'm going to increase amplified too. Good. And then I'll turn off color head. There's no need for color head in this particular image. Bloom is turned on, and bloom is looking good already. So let's go back to temperature compensation and warm that up. Good. So I'm going to, let's see the before, the after, before and after. I'm gonna press OK, and that's it. So right after you've done that, you can still do your little adjustments. You know, I can bring up my curves and have something like that, you know, just to amplify the whole process. I can bring this down, you know, and that's an image that I really love. I mean, it has a lot of depth to it now, right, compared to the original image. So I've worked on this. I think I've shown you how that works. Let me show you how what it looks like on this particular image. Let's pick up. I think I like that. You know, one thing I really love is for this plugin to, one thing I would love this plugin to have is the option of having to preview this. Like, you know, when you hover around in Lightroom, you can see in real time what the preset is going to do. So I don't know why this is not that way. I hope they work on this and make it better. So if I hover around a particular profile, it should reflect on the image and I can see directly, so I don't have to click on each profile to check. Let's keep going. Yeah, that's looking good. So I shot this on the streets of Lagos, and you know, you can tell by the looks that I wanted to have all this gritty bricks, you know, old textured bricks, and if I use DEHANCER properly, I should get the kind of look that I'm going for, which is going to be filmic and grainy, you know. I like that. Let's see. I like what that is doing, but it's not as intense as I would like it to be. So let's look for something that's a lot more intense. Okay, I love this. Okay, I love this. Now let's go back to elation. Turn this on. Yeah, good. See what it's doing to his hair and to his glasses and to the edges of his hand. Let's turn mask mode on so you can see what exactly is going on here. So I'm going to increase global diffusion because I want it to be more prominent. I want it to be more visible. So I'm going to reduce amplify. Good. Turn on bloom. Reduce amplify on bloom. And give it a little bit of vignette. Just a little bit. Okay. Then turn on color head and add a lot more yellow to that. Then a little bit of red. Okay. And then I don't want it this bright, just like that. Good. So I'm going to come to film grain and turn that on, so you can see how the grain is appearing in all the highlights and the shadows and the midtones. So I can reduce the effect of the grain on the midtones. I can bring that down. Good. Good. That's it. So I can click OK, and you can see how filmic and cinematic that looks before and after. So if you are the type that you find color grading very difficult and you just want to have something that will be easier to use, this is definitely something you should try out. I think I'll be working. So let me just show you. Let me show you how it works on a portrait, on a headshot. So if I go to filter, DEHANCER film. Yeah, that looks good already, but I like to work things from the ground up. So I'm going to reset, turn on film profile. I hope I reset all of this. Yeah, let's come back to profile and turn that one off. Okay, let's see. So this is just to let you know that this just doesn't work for outdoor pictures where it works for studio pictures where you want a filmic, cinematic kind of look to your images. So let's scroll down to Konica Impressa. That's beautiful, and this one is beautiful too. That looks really good. So let me go to my favorite settings again. Elation, turn that on, turn mask mode on. I'll bring up local diffusion, bring up the global diffusion too, turn mask mode off, so you can see what it looks like now. Now this is the portrait of a music artist that I shot some times ago, and when he came into the studio he was actually particular about having this kind of look to his image, and he gave me his phone. He had an app that has this VHS kind of look. That's what the app is designed to look like. So when I got this plugin, I realized that I could actually use this plugin to give the effect that the artist actually wants. So I'm going to go to bloom now. See that soft ethereal look that is given to the image. It's really amazing. It's something. So I'm going to break this down a little, and let's give it a little bit of vignette, just a little bit. Good. Color head, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to this, add a little bit of red, just a tiny bit, and that's it. So you can see the before and the after, before and after. I'll click OK. That looks really interesting, right? So I'm going to come to filter, the answer film. Okay, I'm going to restore it. Then come to profiles, turn film profile on. This is an image. I took this image at a wedding actually, and it's really interesting. I love the image. Let's see. That looks good. That looks good straight up. So come down to elation, turn it on. Let's see. Bring up local diffusion, bring up global diffusion. That looks good. Yeah, that looks good. I'd love it to be more intense, so I'll bring this up. I'll bring this up as well. Good. Then I'm going to come to bloom, turn bloom on. Let's bring down amplify a little. Then I'm going to come to vignette, add a little bit of vignette to that, and that's it. Let's add some grains to this. Let's add some grains to this. Good. Yeah. The before and after. Does this look like an image that you took with a film camera? Yes. Maybe not 100%, but the emulation is really amazing. It's amazing that you can actually create something like this. It's amazing that you can take your picture from this digital looking, clean, everything sharp, to this. It's really amazing. So this will be the last image I'm going to use this on, because I've been at this for so long now. So I'm going to restore all the settings, the settings to be. Now I'm going to turn on film profile, and this image, I took this image when I took that image of the cow that I worked on earlier. I just saw this guy drinking the cow milk. I mean, these are full of this in Nigeria. They are known for rearing cattle. I saw him drinking the milk from the cow's breast straight up, no cleaning, nothing, and I find that really amazing. So I took a picture of it. I've had this picture for a while, so I'm going to settle with Konica Impresa 50 or Owo Chrome, which I find really interesting. Yeah, I'm going to add some grains to that, add my halation, going to increase that, I'm going to add bloom. Good. And that's the before, after. So you can see all these images that they are really filmic, and they have really amazing touches to them. There is this nostalgic feeling that comes to them when you look at it, unlike every digital image you see. So if this is something that you are into, which I would definitely advise you try out, then this plugin is designed for you. You should definitely get this plugin, and don't forget to use my promo code Ben10 DEHANCER to get a 10% off your purchase. So you can see how we've been able to achieve this amazing cinematic look to all those images with a few clicks here and there. So definitely check out this plugin and click on the description below to get the plugin. It's really amazing. It's really interesting. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Peace out.